It's time for the Fort Mill Magazine podcast.
It's July 25th, 2012. I'm Tracy Roman.
And I'm Emily Wyatt.
Today we have Mayor Funderburk is going to be here to talk to us in the studio.
And he's got some really interesting information on what's going on in Fort Mill and some really good news about the Strawberry Festival. So that's going to be fun to talk about.
Right. And then later in our podcast, we'll have Paul Finnican, who is a musician, and he's also the owner of the Sylvia Theater, which is located in downtown York.
Mm-hmm. And he actually brought his guitar, so maybe we can squeeze some performance out of him today.
I hope so.
But first, we have Mayor Funderburk sitting with us today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for sitting down with us. We have several things that we could discuss with you, but let's start off by talking about the Strawberry Festival. That was a huge success, of course, again this year, but we even met even more benchmarks this year from what I understand. Can you tell me a little bit about the benchmarks that we met for this year's festival?
Yeah, it continues to exceed all expectations. Really, it's just getting bigger and better every year. It's been amazing for us. You know, we transitioned from a small colloquial festival on Main Street to a true regional super event. It's recently it was designated at the Carolina Show Festival as the #1 event in the state of South Carolina. So it was a tremendous honor for us, and it has to do with so many factors, not the least of which is the fact that Fort Mill is such a special place. But the people in Fort Mill make it a special place, and the volunteers that work that project are extremely important to the success of it. This past year, our turnstile count was right around 50,000 people, from a high of probably 3,000 people at the old Festifun event that used to be held on Main Street. So the move to the new venue has been extremely successful. The strategy for involving volunteers and allowing talented people to take part and take this thing to a special place has been extremely successful. So it's just been a tremendous event for the town. It exposes us in a very positive way throughout the region. We had hits from 50 states on our South Carolina Strawberry Festival website. We had phone calls in virtually year-round. So it's generated a tremendous amount of interest across the country, but certainly in the southern region. We're just very pleased with it.
Wonderful. Now, you also received some kind of accolade for the marketing, correct?
That's correct. Again, a large part of the success are the talented people, that are involved in it. We've got a very talented group of folks working our communications marketing silo. And essentially what they did was put a strategy together that was so successful that it became known. We entered it in the Municipal Association of South Carolina's recent municipal awards competition, and it took home top honors. So, it just continues to garner praise throughout the region from our peers and from people who are in the know. Lots of what we're doing is extremely positive and extremely successful.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Family Circle article that just came out?
The foremost family leisure, family life focused magazine in the country, 19 million readers, basically approached us 6-8 months ago and told us that we were on the initial long list to be considered as one of the top 10 places in the country to raise a family. We then found out they had trimmed it down to 1,300 communities, down from about 4,000 communities. And then eventually, fortunately, after the vetting process, we were determined one of the top 10 places in the country to raise a family.
Huh. How was that vetted? How did they determine that?
It was an independent consulting firm out of New York, basically took the reins on it. They had a list of criteria that they were looking at, the schools, the attitude or the respect or the behavior amongst ourselves, how we treat one another, green spaces, the economy, of course the proximity to a major metropolitan area factored into it, our location, which obviously is very strategically situated between the mountains and the coast. We just had so many things going for us, but the beauty of it was no one item led to the designation. We had to be strong in every single area. So, and we were. So, the criteria that we delivered were were exactly what they were looking for. And so, again, I mean, when you're measured against every other town and city across the country, regardless of size, and you're determined one of the top 10 places in the country, the United States of America, to raise a family, we're very, very pleased with that. It's a big honor.
Yeah, that was huge.
It really is. It really is a big honor. And hopefully that will attract not just individuals to come to our town, but to businesses. And I know that that ties into one of the other things that we could talk about, which is the 10-year plan. There's something going on with that?
Well, we're very big on strategic planning in the town of Fort Mill for obvious reasons. We were alternating between another community in the state as far as being the number one fastest growing area in the state. So we recognized very early on that we needed to do a much better job of strategically planning for our growth. And, you're planning for so many things. You're planning for your infrastructure, your road system, your water. You're planning for your economic development, all those things. And so we've had experts come in and sit down with us. Actually, we began the process a few years back, but really began to refine the process about 5 years ago. And so we're in the midst right now of a 5-year review of our 10-year plan, which is mandated by the state. So we'll get that done probably by the end of this year. We'll then, be 5 years, I guess, before we do our overall comprehensive strategic plan. But, the point being, you need to stay on top of it. You need to constantly review your criteria, constantly look at data to make sure that you're moving in the correct direction, to make sure that you're making the right long, mid-range, and long-range decisions to get you where you need to be. So much factors into that. I mean, obviously, when people are moving in here, we went from about 10% a year just before the economic downturn to now we're growing at right at 2% a year. So that's certainly enough growth to where you need to be concerned about, are you going to have enough water? Are you going to be able to pull the waste away from homes? It's the police protection there. How fast is the fire service? All those things are factored into what you do, and you try to be very intelligent with the way you plan it.
Sure. Now, you know that Fort Mill Magazine, the overall focus of our magazine has always been about promoting small business.
Right.
So when you're talking about that strategic planning, are there special programs in place to encourage small business to come here? And are there incentives for a small business to set up shop, say, like on Main Street or anything like that? Are there things set up like that?
All of that's on the table. It's a major part of what we plan for. As a matter of fact, it's so important for us that we've established a Fort Mill Economic Council as a sort of advisory board, a blue ribbon panel, if you will, that is made up of all of the stakeholders in the town, the property owners, the business operators, key elected officials, certain administrative staff, throughout the town. All these people are basically sitting down once a month to discuss the economic development climate in the town of Fort Mill and what we can do to improve it. They're working on a toolbox, if you will, that they can put together that will include, obviously, whatever incentives we're allowed to do. We're somewhat restricted as a municipality with what we can do. A lot of it is dictated by the county and dictated by the state, and whatever they cede to the town or allow you to do, we certainly put all that on the table and we consider every bit of it. But, we want to make sure that we become much more business friendly. We want an existing business to feel like they have an opportunity to expand and to do things without penalty. We want to make sure that outside businesses who are looking to possibly relocate take a look at one of the top 10 places in the country to raise a family and decide that they'll come here for the quality of life. So all of those things are important for you to look at. They're important for you to refine. And we feel like we've got a great team in place to do that. They have spent the last year putting the foundation in place, composing bylaws, taking a look at the existing tools, determining what our strengths and weaknesses are, all of those things. And then, of course, there's been some interplay with some of the players, some of the strategic partners to make sure that we're getting the correct people in place to help us. And so we brought some folks in, and then we found them they wanted to move on, and then we brought some other people in, and we felt like we've arrived at the strongest team possible to do that. So we're really excited about where they're going to take things, and much of what they decide and much of what they put in place to do, they'll pass through the town council for the blessing, and once we put the blessing on it, it will become a part of our overall comprehensive strategic plan. So, we are always concerned about that. We recognize the importance of a good, strong commercial component. The impact on your tax base, and the impact on the quality of schools, and all those things are affected by that. So we certainly will continue to look at that on an ongoing basis.
Right. Now, those meetings that are held once a month, is that available to the public to go to? Or if somebody wants to be a part of that committee, is there like a person that they need to contact?
They need to contact that committee, because that is a separate 501c3. They are not, I guess you could call them a pseudo-government group, because we work very closely with them. They solicit our blessing on anything that they do, but they do operate separate and independent from the town of Fort Mill. Now, we have an individual in place who is basically responsible for working with them. She's a part-time employee of the town, and she can be found at the Little Red Caboose down at the bottom of Main Street. And she works hours from, I think, 9, 10 o'clock till about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And she's there to distribute information. She's there to answer questions if possible, and to take feedback from the public. So, yeah, I mean, absolutely. We do have a system in place, I think, that contributes to make that not just user-friendly for the business community, but also user-friendly for the general public. So, it's available and open to them for questions and for feedback.
Oh, good. Well, what we can do is we can put on our website her contact information, or maybe the link to the Economic Council, so people can just click on it and go from there.
That'd be great. Yeah, she'd look forward to hearing from you.
We noticed by, what is it, Fairway Drive? No. Where is it? Basically the Southern Bypass that's going in down by Bigger Brothers.
Oh, Banks Road.
Yeah,
right?
Banks. Yeah.
Down at Banks Road and Fort Mill Parkway.
Can you tell us the plan for that, or how long it's going to take?
Yeah, that's extremely important as far as our transportation plans are concerned. It's a part of the Pennies for Progress campaign. One of their big projects. It's been a focus for them for a number of years. Basically, it's called the Southern Bypass, and what it will do is literally it will establish a bypass around the business sector of Fort Mill, which will alleviate much of our traffic congestion and put us in a position to move traffic from north to south much, much quicker. And again, I mean, we talked about the economic development just a few moments ago. Transportation and that infrastructure is certainly important, and it's another focus of ours. Matter of fact, we've commissioned a separate transportation study that we're in the midst of now. We've got a firm called Parsons and Brinkerhoff, who are probably one of the foremost transportation planners in the Southeast, working with us on that to determine what our strengths and weaknesses are with our traffic infrastructure, to help us identify some projects and to put some criteria to that, help us to identify funding, grants, whatever, and to put some strategy together, some intelligent strategy together for how we approach many of our traffic concerns, because it's one of the things that you hear most about as an elected official, about how long it takes to get from one side of town to the other, and how long it takes to get from Charlotte and back, and all that sort of thing. So, we're focused on that. The Southern Bypass was a big component in that overall traffic strategy, and it has been at a much higher level than the town's level, because we're very limited, again, with what we can do. Contrary to what most people believe, 90% of the roads in town are not our roads. They're not our streets. They belong to the state. They belong, some of them are the counties. And then obviously we have the interstates and the bigger highway system. But, we're really at the mercy in many ways to decisions that are made at the county, state, and federal level for what happens. But we wanted to identify the things that we can impact. We wanted to identify a strategy that put us in a position to have conversations with the county and with the state and with the federal authorities to make sure that we were making our case for the projects that we know are important, and that they're channeling the money that is available into areas where it can do us the most good. The Southern Bypass is a part of that. They're looking at a completion date of about 2015. It's a 3-phase project, and we're looking at the first phase now. Additional phases will involve a bridge over the railroad. It will make that eventual connection over to 160, and then eventually end with the Springfield Parkway. So you'll have a complete bypass around the town. It will alleviate a lot of congestion off of Doby's Bridge Road, which I know will be near and dear to your heart.
Right.
It will alleviate a lot of congestion off of the 160 corridor from east to west. and from west to east, and put people in a position to make those transits in a much more comfortable fashion. So it's going to be a big project, going to help us out quite a bit.
Well, it's always exciting to see, progress, and I think the Pennies for Progress program is a good thing. The other thing we want to talk about is upcoming Fort Mill events. We know we've got the Fall Festival, which usually happens on Main Street. Correct?
That's right.
Are there any other events that are happening between now and then?
Well, we'll have our Veterans Day event in November. It's a big event for us. Obviously, we begin to approach the holiday season, so we'll have our Christmas tree lighting. We have our annual parade. Mm-hmm. So, we've got some traditional events coming up that we consider extremely important. They all factor into that quality of life schedule, that we try to establish every year. We're very proud of it. Those events, much like the South Carolina Strawberry Festival at Fort Mill, continue to get bigger and better every year. The first year that we took the mayor's job, we inherited a Christmas tree event that drew about 100 people tops, and now we average 600, 700, 800 people. We're going to top out at about 1,000 within the next year or two as word continues to spread. And it's led to some improvements that we've done downtown. I mean, we're in the process right now of adding a PA system, because we have the kids come and sing, and folks complain they can't hear the kids singing well. Yes. And so we recognize that, and so we want to try to upgrade and try to make these events even more fan-friendly if we possibly can. But, we built our Veterans Park last year, which was a big project for us, and now all of our military-type events, all of our recognition and memorial events are now taking place in our Veterans Park. So we're excited that the Veterans event this year will be held there. And we continue to add pavers. We continue to find interest in other fixtures that people want to sponsor so they can help us defray cost and make improvements to our downtown area. We just keep moving on with it, man. We're extremely excited about it.
Right. And the newest addition is the clock. Can you tell us a little bit about the clock?
Yeah, the clock was a great addition. It was a part of a streetscape strategy that we had put together some years back. All of it's kind of coming into place now in pieces. Millstone Park down at the bottom of Main Street was a part of that. And it actually began a little earlier than that at the top of Main Street when we put the crosswalks in and did the metal mast arm traffic lights and did some of those things. And, we did the planters, the plants that you see hanging on Main Street. And then obviously as a part of that, we had envisioned the clock, possibly eventually, you mentioned the other day, a water feature,
yes.
That was also in our thinking. So we want to continue to improve those amenities downtown, and to add those green spaces and to put things in place that make the downtown a more attractive place, for people to visit, but for businesses to situate. And so they take a look at all that when they start talking about where they're going to put something and put their business. And we want to make sure that Fort Mill is at least in the conversation. And we find ourselves in the conversation more and more lately. Some of the improvements we've made over the last 4 to 5 years, I think, have contributed to that.
Oh, definitely. And then, having that national attention with the Family Circle article is huge. So now we just have to wait and see.
Yeah, we expect over the next 12 to 18 months that there'll be a spike of interest, and certainly maybe even manifesting in additional rooftops. We're not as concerned with bringing the rooftops in as we are to making sure that it's attractive for somebody to situate a business headquarters, a retail location, a warehouse, a manufacturing site. We work very closely with York County Economic Development. We're making that coordination now with our Fort Mill Economic Council that we mentioned a few moments ago. And, our ongoing goal is to bring flat roofs, not pitched roofs. We love having folks come here to live, but we certainly recognize the need in getting businesses to move here too, so we can improve our tax base, we can create jobs and all that sort of thing. So that's our true focus, making this place attractive for businesses, and the ancillary benefit are all the nice people that come here to move too.
Definitely. We definitely have a wonderful group of people that are native to Fort Mill or who have transplanted here.
We have come heres and we have been heres, and we're proud of all of them,
Definitely. Well, we certainly appreciate you coming today and talking with us. We have so many wonderful things to tout about being here in Fort Mill, and we definitely want to have you come back and talk to us again and tell us, how things have changed since this meeting.
Oh, absolutely. Let me tell you, we certainly appreciate Fort Mill Magazine as a strategic partner. So many in the media are constantly looking for those negative things that they can sensationalize. As a matter of fact, it was amazing to me that we were named one of the top 10 places in the country to raise a family, and how little press that it got. I think a little bit of website time from some, and maybe some less than strategic placement, in other products. And you guys have been quick to help us publicize that fact. I just think the media should do as good a job as you guys do at stressing the positive things that are happening in the community. So we really appreciate your focus, and we appreciate what you're doing for the town of Fort Mill.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we've covered some business news or news related to the municipality, let's get into the entertainment side, things that are available to us in Fort Mill as far as, music and theater.
Yeah. For example, the Sylvia Theater is down in York, and the owner's here with us today. Paul, why don't you tell us a little bit about your venue?
The Sylvia Theater is about a 107-year-old building that became a one-screen movie theater in 1935, and then closed down around 1968, and I got it in 2001 and reopened it. And our 10-year anniversary is coming up next month.
Oh, so that's a big deal.
Yeah, very excited. It's the weekend of the 10th, so the 9th, 10th, and 11th, we have a bunch of events planned, and we're really excited. This Saturday, July 28th, we have Trial by Fire, and that's a Journey tribute band.
Oh, really?
Yep. Journey fans?
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Big Journey fan.
Oh, good. You should go.
Okay.
We can put the Fort Mill magazine on the guest list.
Wonderful. And that's this coming weekend.
This is this Saturday night. Yeah, so we're excited about the 10-year anniversary. It's been a decade of fun, so we're looking forward to a really good weekend of the 10th, and just great fun, great movies, and so you have to come down.
Well, tell me a little bit, because I've never been. Heard wonderful things about it, but for people who are new to the area or have never been to the Sylvia Theater, explain exactly everything that the Sylvia Theater offers.
Great. Well, first of all, it's a great venue to see things, to see movies, to listen to concerts. It's actually only 200 seats. It's a very tiny theater, but it has a balcony and like an old theater would have. And so when you're sitting on the first row of the balcony, the stage is really only 40 feet away, but the ceilings are 30 feet high, so you've got a roomy feeling in a very intimate setting. And we've got surround sound, Dolby for the movies. So when you're watching Madagascar or movies we have, it's got a great sound for the movies. If you're listening to concerts, it's really not a bad seat in the house. It's a great room for concerts. We've got a nice Yamaha soundboard and a great sound system. But I've also heard musicians play with no sound system, and you can still hear them clear as a bell.
Wow. So are there things to do every day of the week? So like movies playing every day? Or
not every day. I'll start with, what kicks off our work week is really Thursdays at 6, there's a movie. Saturdays at 7. Thursday at 6, Friday at 7, Saturday 3 and 7, and Sunday at 4. And those are our movie times.
What movies do you normally play?
Mostly PG, kind of the family stuff,
right? Kids
movies. It is it's a non-smoking family type venue, so we try to keep. We're not going to get any R's or anything like that.
Right. Yeah.
And it's church on Sunday. Lifeway Church holds church there on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
And then you really to be certain, the best thing is to save and keep an eye on sylviatheater.com.
Okay.
Just the girl's name, sylviatheater.com, and that's where we post all the events that are coming up. Like I mentioned earlier, the Journey Tribute Trial by Fire, and our 10-year anniversary weekend with David Childers. And it's a place a lot of people rent it. We do a lot of birthday parties. We do Ducks Unlimited has an auction there every year.
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of different things. We've had a lot of like 70th birthday party type stuff where, if you lease the facility, you could bring in and show DVDs. You can bring in musicians if you want. I mean, it really is, whoever rents it can do whatever they want, as long as we have the staff there to help them.
Right.
That's really kind of it. It's right in the heart of downtown, so you can just park once. You can get food on Main Street. You can, come to the movie, then go maybe get some. You usually get like a half-hour break between the movie and the music.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it, really.
And then you also are a musician as well.
I am.
And we featured you in the winter 2011 issue of Fort Mill Magazine. So can you tell us a little bit about what has happened since we did that interview and any venues that you're going to be playing at?
Yes, and the article was great. I'm very pleased. The writing was terrific and really enjoyed having that done. That was very nice. I'm playing at Sayago's Cafe First Fridays with Anita and Jose there. It's a great restaurant, great food, great people.
Right.
Enjoy that place a lot. So the next one would be, I guess, August 3rd. And then I'm playing in Davidson at a place called Summit Coffee House. It's a songwriter round. I know one of the other songwriters is Hannah Miller. I'm not sure who the other two will be. And then the festival in the park, I'm playing that. I'm not sure what my slot will be.
Where's that?
Festival, that's in Freedom Park in Charlotte.
Okay.
The Folk Society builds a stage and they invite people. So I was invited to play there. I'm not sure what my slot will be. And I think that's a weekend in September. I don't know exactly what day it is.
Okay.
And I'm getting ready to put together the Sylvia Songwriter Round. It's usually a 5 or 6 show series. And it's fun for me because I get to invite all my friends to come play, and I host and play.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, you also mentioned that you have written a new song.
Yeah. I have a couple of nieces getting married this actually next month and the month after. And it was kind of a wedding song called You Were Meant for Me.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if it's done yet. And I don't, most songwriters know that you never know when it's done until you just wear it out. You're constantly rewriting the songs, and I like it. I wrote another one about kind of a church lady. That was the one I did last weekend. I'm not sure that one's done either, but so it's fun. I try to get up early and write before I go to work with my job at the bank, and it's just a good way to start the day.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But I think probably the song that I'm most proud of right now is a song called So Proud.
I see flowers in the garden, windowsill full of seashells, thinking about my little girl growing up so well.
Now, tell us the inspiration for that song.
That song is actually a father-daughter song, and when I play it out at shows, people always ask me, "Wow, that's really nice. You must have a really nice daughter," and I don't have a daughter. I have 2 sons, but my sister has 3 daughters. My 3 brothers all have daughters, so it's really a song for them.
Gotcha.
And it's, I played it at weddings. I played it at the Westin Hotel one time for a friend and the father-daughter dance.
Mm-hmm.
And I sang that there.
Do you write a song every day?
No, I wish I could.
I was going to say, that'd be really impressive.
I go through like fits and, where I'm writing all the time. And I'm definitely much happier when I'm writing. I mean, if I write something I like, it gives me motivation for anything. I can, it's like that great night's sleep at the hotel commercial.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's how I feel after I write something I like. It just gives me energy to do whatever I want to do. And
that's your Hampton Inn, huh?
yeah, is that the commercial?
Little plug for them.
Yeah, little plug for Hampton Inn.
So, do you serenade your wife?
No, yeah. I think she's hears it a lot,
Right.
I have a detached garage that I practice in. But yes, when I write a song that I like, I usually, bring it down there and let Stephanie listen, and Stephanie tells me what she thinks. And
Right.
sometimes they go well, sometimes they don't.
Sometimes you get the thumbs up, right?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so again, let's talk about you've got this event happening this weekend, which is the Journey Tribute Band.
Yes, that's this Saturday night. It's called Trial by Fire. It's a great Journey tribute band. If you like Journey, you'll love this show.
And you can get tickets online, or you
Yep, SylviaTheater.com. You
Okay.
can get tickets there. You go to the website, SylviaTheater.com, and then you go to eTix.
Wonderful. And
You get tickets at the door if you want to. There's still tickets left, and it's not sold out.
Is it just one price for tickets, or it depends on your seat?
It's one price for tickets, and I'm not sure exactly. I think it's probably $12 or $15. It's
Okay.
probably on there, is it? Let me see. The ticket price is not sure. SylviaTheater.com. My guess is it's probably $12 in advance, $15 at the door.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then August 10th is the big...
David Childers is coming back, and everybody that participated in the first show of the Sylvia Theater, we're going to reenact that sold-out show. Hopefully sell it out again. And there's a lot of David Childers fans out there, I know. In fact, there's a lot of Avett Brother fans. I know one of the members that's going to play with David is from the Avett Brothers, who's going to be playing that night too.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we've had the Avett, before the Avett Brothers got really big, we had them a couple of times, and they great shows. Then they got really famous.
Right.
Hard to book.
Right.
200 seats is not enough for the Avett Brothers.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then if people want to come and hear you play, you said that's going to be at Sayago's on
Cafe.
Market Street.
Yep, 940 Market Street, Sayago's Cafe, 7 o'clock on Friday, August 3rd.
And that happens pretty much the first Friday of every month, correct?
Right.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
Well, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate you coming and telling us the latest with the Sylvia Theater
Thank you for having me.
and your upcoming events for yourself and for the theater.
Thank you very much for having me. I enjoyed it and appreciate what you do.
Well, it's always nice to meet the local talent,
Definitely enjoyed talking with Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to close out with his song called Aunt Rita.
Yep. And that's the end of our show. So follow us on Twitter.
And Facebook.
And as always, go to FortMillMagazine.com, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
She's walking up the stairs, Our Lady of the Bay. She's helping